In this meeting, I wanted to give a brief introduction to creating meetings. Now, my personal preference for most one-on-ones is to use the personal meeting room. And the nice thing about the personal meeting room is that it's always there. And you've got a URL that you can copy and paste into whatever email that you're using. If you want to create a meeting specifically for a group of people, you would go into your Zoom account and go down into meetings and click schedule a new meeting. From here, you can put in the topic, and a description. If you've built any templates, you can select a template. I'm not going to in this case. You can set the date. So let's say I'm doing this for the 3rd of April. And a time, and you're looking at the start time. And make sure that you've set AM and PM. And then how long you want the meeting to last. You could do it by hours. You can also do it by minutes, and Zoom specifically does 15-minute increments. Also set your time zone, and if you want it to be a recurring meeting, go ahead and check recurring meeting. Now, at least in the first level of paid Zoom, recurring meetings are pretty blunt. So if you're doing a recurring meeting that's, say, every second and fourth Monday, you have to do it as individual meetings. But if it's on a regular cadence, so if I do a weekly meeting and decide to do it every 2 weeks, that works out really well. And I can set it to recur on a particular day. I can set an end date, either by the actual date or by the number of occurrences. It's a really good idea, unless you're doing something that you intend to be public, as in very public, to make registration required. Particularly with Zoom, it was built originally as a customer direct-to-consumer product. So unlike some of the corporate webinar items, and with the news, this gives you a level of security that's much higher than if you leave registration not required. Now, if you're doing something very public that you want anybody to attend, you can leave that unchecked. You can also require a meeting password. Again, that's a level of security. And this video is whether or not when people come into the meeting, the video is either on or off, and having it start automatically. I like leaving these off and then making people turn on the video. And the big reason for that is bandwidth. But the second reason for that is because I don't like surprising people. I'd rather give people the choice whether they feel like they should display themselves. With audio, I will typically use both or computer audio as optimum, particularly if I know everybody that will be in, that I'm inviting, has a headset microphone and decent internet. I still encourage the use of computer audio. I would only use telephone in very particular circumstances, but it's a very good practice that if computer audio is an option, to use it. Otherwise, I'd use both. And then in terms of meeting options, enable join before host allows people to join before you're there. Mute participants upon entry is a very good one to have checked because that helps reduce some of the background noise that you encounter, and then you can unmute them during the meeting or encourage them to unmute if they talk. You can enable the waiting room. That's if you're not enabling someone to join before you do. Only authenticated users can join. Again, this is another security option. So if you've got registration turned on and you're making people register and you require a meeting password, this is a third layer of security that's really helpful. And finally, record the meeting automatically, which is really helpful if you need to make sure that that meeting's recorded. The final thing is alternative hosts. What's nice about having alternative hosts is if you have someone that's helping you moderate a meeting, serve as a chat moderator, if you're holding an event, if you're team teaching, or if you're having a meeting where there's going to be a lot of interaction and two of you are chairing that meeting. Naming an alternative host and sending an email is really helpful. So once you're done, go ahead and click Save. The meeting will appear. You'll want to add it to your calendar while you're in here. And if you don't, that's fine. But when you click on My Meetings again, either here in the breadcrumbs or over here in the menu, you should see that meeting scheduled. And the meetings are in order, but you can also do up and down to change the order of that. If you're still in here, you can go ahead and click on Start, and that will launch the meeting, and you can go ahead and start your meeting. So that is scheduling within the Zoom account. There is an option. Now, I happen to be on Google Chrome. There is an option for a Zoom scheduler. So what that looks like in practice is if I'm using Google Chrome and I have Google Mail, I can schedule a meeting, but the same way I normally do. But you'll notice now there's a button that says Make it a Zoom meeting. So I'll go ahead and click on that. It creates a Zoom meeting. I can invite my guests and click Save. And that meeting too will appear in my meeting area. So I set it for April 28th. So there's my Zoom meeting on April 28th. I hope that helps.